So if there's one thing I've seen in pretty much every RollerCoaster Tycoon World beta video, it's that pretty much every inversion I've seen people make has looked bad. Mine included, not to offend anybody, but it's just the way the coaster builder is. It's really difficult to make inversions look good in this game. You know, as much as I said I liked the coaster builder in my review video and how I felt like I had so much freedom to just do whatever I want with it, that freedom kind of comes at the cost of perfection. You know, like it's really hard to make things look perfect and look like perfectly realistic in this game. And that's not really that big of a problem if you're making like simple hyper coasters that just go up a lift hill, go down, and do some bunny hops and some twists and turns. That's fine. But doing like more intricate roller coaster elements, and namely inversions, gets to be really complicated, and it can take a long time to make something even look kind of decent. And I've struggled a lot since I started playing this beta. But now we're like 3 months after the beta came out. We've seen that they're going to make some improvements. But now we're kind of stuck in no man's land, waiting for that next beta to come out. Haven't even heard the final release date yet. So there's nothing really new to talk about in this game. So what I did was I just downloaded a copy of the beta build, illegally, don't tell anybody. But I downloaded it. I just wanted to mess with the coaster builder more, see if I can maybe figure out some of these problems that I've just seen and that everyone seems to be having with this game, including myself, just not being able to make inversions look good, look real. So that's really what I just wanted to do with this video. As you see, I started building an inverted coaster here, just did a simple lift hill and going down, and we're just going to try out a couple of different versions. I got a list here, I'm going to go on the list and just try them out. I have been experimenting a little bit, so I'm not going to this completely blind, but we'll just see how they turn out, okay? So the first one we're going to start off is dead simple. Everyone should be able to make this. Just an inline twist. You know it pretty well, so just... Oops. Fuck. See, I have another roller coaster over there that I'm actually editing, so we'll fix that. We'll go back to this one. So again, we're going to just do an inline twist here, so super dead simple. Make one track, make it go forward, hit 2, and make that thing go around 360 degrees. Like I said in my review video, it's just going to show that it's red unless you stretch it out to like an absurd length. But really in this beta, this red doesn't really mean jack, so you can leave it like this. It's going to be fine. I know they already said in the next beta that they're going to have a fix where it's only going to show white or red, so you won't have like yellow. I don't know if I can show it. Yeah, so they won't have the yellow color here. It's either going to be white to show that it's good, or it's going to be red, and then they're going to actually show you a little piece of the coaster car itself as to where it's going to be falling off that track. So in the future, you won't have to worry about this. For right now, I'm not going to worry about it because I know it's going to work. So yeah, so inline twist, just twist it around, straight piece of track, and that looks fine. So let's go ahead and test it out and see what it looks like. So here comes the train, entering the twist. Oh no way, it worked fine, except for when it fell off the track. But yeah, I mean, you can see it's nice fluid movement. It's all... The nice thing about this is that the inversion itself is in one piece of track, so it's really nice and smooth. No breakups, nothing jagged or anything like that. So let's see what that looks like in first-person mode. So we gun on the hill. So we enter the twist here. Look at that, looks good. And we slide off, of course, and look at the really ugly grass texture. But you can see that the twist itself looks nice and smooth. Looks like a realistic inline twist to me. So that's good. That's a pretty easy inversion. Anyone should be able to make that, no problem. So the next piece off of a inline twist is a 0G roll. So 0G roll is basically just an inline twist that kind of has like a bunny hop in the middle of it, kind of giving you like some air time while also rolling you through it. I don't really know a better way to describe it, but it's literally just a hole with a twist. It's literally just a hill with a twist through it. So I'll show you what I originally tried to do when I first made a 0G hill here. So what I did was I just took the inline twist that I had, maybe extend it out a little bit more, and just found the node that was at the direct center of where the twist was. So I did that, boom, and then I made a little hill like that. Yeah, 0G roll, right? Well, with the way that this beta works is, for some reason, when you're doing twists, it tends to kind of elongate, or I don't know, like have the twist be more gradual as you're coming off of the node. So as you saw before, it was one fluid twist through that track, but as you separate into two pieces, it starts to twist in the middle, and then the twist at each end is a lot more gradual. So when you do this, it's not gonna look like a realistic 0G roll. You're gonna go up, you're gonna start twisting, and then at the top you're gonna have like a half second of just being straight upside down, and it's gonna look kind of bad. So what I've done to combat this is, instead of having it be just two pieces and separating the twist into two separate pieces, we're gonna make it into three total. So what we do is we start off by having a little bit of the hill starting here as a separate piece. So we'll go up to like 11 meters and make the angle of the hill at 315. So that's fine. That's a good angle for the 0G roll. So that first part. And then the second part is going to be the actual inversion itself. So we add the next part, and it's going to be the inversion itself as well as the top of the hill. So we want to tilt 4 down so that it's at a nice angle for a small little 0G roll. And then we're going to twist that itself. We're going to twist that piece itself the full 360 degrees, whatever way you want it, and make it do the actual roll of the movement. We can alter that a little bit more, give it a little bit more of a bunny hill, I guess. So now you see that twist is again in one single piece. It's going to be nice and fluid, and then we come out of the 0G roll back to level, just like that. Okay, so just a little hill with a twist in the middle. I mean, that's what a 0G roll is, and it's going to look a lot better than what it was going to look like with the two pieces. So let's test that out and see what it looks like. You can see it enters the hill, then goes through the twisting motion, and then goes back down the hill. It's going a little bit fast, so it might look a little bit out of control there, but it still looks fluid and looks like how a realistic 0G roll would be in this game. This is the most realistic 0G roll I've seen created in this game, and I think it looks pretty good. So let's see what it looks like in first-person mode. And so first-person mode, 0G roll. I did add a little break there just to kind of slow it down, and I think I slowed it down too much. Shit. All right, let's try that again. That's what happens when you have these just nonsensical values. Like, what does this mean? 5.95. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Let's do 3.25. Okay, again, so we're going down the hill. Get some small breaks, and then we go into the roll itself, nice and smooth, and back down the hill. See how smooth that looked? It would not have looked that smooth if I would have kept it as two pieces. It would have looked it definitely wouldn't have looked right. I'm really happy with that. So yeah, that's the 0G roll. Pretty simple to make once you actually understand how to make it correctly. Once you get the idea of having the three separate pieces, and then having the twist be the one single piece, then it ends up turning out pretty well. All right, so sticking with the twist/roll theme, we're gonna do a barrel roll, which I've only tried it once, and it did not turn out that well. But what I'm doing is I'm switching over to a floorless coaster as opposed to an inverted coaster, just because to me barrel rolls look a lot cooler when the track is kind of facing itself the entire time. Doing a barrel roll on an inverted coaster just looks kind of weird anyway, so we'll try it on the floorless coaster. Alright, so barrel roll, basically just an inline twist but in the shape of a barrel. Does that make sense? I'm not really sure a better way to describe it. Maybe I'll throw a picture up there so you can see what it looks like. But yeah, this is something I've tried just once before, and that might have been like an hour before I actually started recording this video, and it did not turn out that well. So we're going to try this again. So when I first tried this, I'm thinking that there's no way to get around having the inversion in one piece. Like, there's no way to do that. You can't make it as smooth as you made the first twist or the 0G roll. You're going to have to deal with making it into two separate pieces. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to first twist the track to 180 to make that first half of the barrel roll. And then we're going to try and shape it into the shape of a barrel. So barrel rolls kind of go up a little bit. So I mean, it starts off at the top of the barrel. You roll up to the top of the barrel shape. So we want to raise the track. I think we were at 5 meters, and then now we're up at 9. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna really just experiment with this. See, the problem with barrel rolls is like they kind of start out. They kind of go out and then in. Like they go out and then in, and it's just like it's something that just seems impossible to do correctly with this tool here. Like I feel like I would almost need to do like 4 pieces where I don't even know, man. it's so hard to think of a way to do this correctly. So we go, maybe we do 90 degrees going upwards, tilted upwards and kind of out at the same time, like that. I don't know. I feel like it needs to be even more extreme than that. And then rotate it around. Give it a bit of an angle again. Actually, that's not really looking that bad. We might be doing something good here. And then rotate it to what, 255? You know what? That is probably, that's not that bad. So we'll just keep going. So it's almost like an elongated, it's just an elongated corkscrew going straight, if that makes sense, I guess. That's helping me, I guess, visualize it. Maybe not so extreme here. Oh God, I hate that. I hate when it like looks good. You want to change like one little thing on it, and then you click the node. It's just like, nope, we're gonna reset it for some stupid reason. So let's do it like that. No, maybe give it a little more twist. Ugh. See, this happened last time too. Like I started off looking good, and then it just looked like shit after that. And I'm thinking that almost looks like that track is too twisted there. It looks weird. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to make it look barrel-ish. Obviously, I'm failing. Maybe we have to do it even less. So start off top like that, and then bring it down. Then you gotta keep it going straight. So you gotta keep it going straight along the angle that it came into the roll. So you want it like that. No, I don't. It doesn't look good. Maybe this is. I feel like this is almost too extreme of an angle now. Then raise it up a little bit. No, it just looks bad. It looks bad no matter whatever way I put it. It's just not gonna look good. I'm thinking this is the first inversion I've tried where it's just like, I don't think there's a good way to do it. Unless, yeah, dude, it's just not gonna work out. I mean, we can try it, we can test it, but I don't really know a better way to do this, to be honest. You know, I thought I had most of them figured out, but man, barrel rolls seem pretty impossible to make like realistic in this game. I'm thinking that's probably the best we're gonna get it. Man, that looks really bad. Alright, let's try it out and let's just see what happens. See what it looks like. Oh, prepare for disappointment. So we roll in. Ugh, God. Yeah, that was really bad. Yeah. I mean, I'll show you first person just to see how bad it is, but yeah, that's not gonna work out. Alright, so shitty barrel roll test. First person. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, that's not good. Yeah, I don't know really what to do there. I feel like I'm just gonna waste time trying to perfect it at this point. Barrel rolls, from my point of view, barrel rolls impossible to make good. To make a good barrel roll is impossible in this game so far. Maybe they'll fix something later down the road, but for now, screw barrel rolls. Don't even bother. All right, let's delete this thing off the face of the planet because it is awful. Okay, boom. Okay, so now that we got that abomination of a barrel roll out of the way, next one on my list is corkscrews. So corkscrews I feel like are probably one of the easier inversions to make in this game. It didn't take me much experimentation to get it looking right, so we'll just do that right now. So to make a corkscrew, you want to start off with just making one piece go directly 90 degrees from whichever angle you were starting. So go 0, and just for the sake of making it a little more simple, so we go 90 degrees. Then you want to raise it up to whatever height you want to go for the corkscrew. Let's try 15, and then once you get the height and the angle correct, then you just want to flip it over 180 degrees from where you started so that you're perfectly inverted upside down. So that's your first piece. I think that looks pretty good already. Just as the first part of it, it looks realistic, super simple to make. Maybe that angle's a little bit extreme for some people, so you can kind of extend it out if you want, make it look a little bit better. I'm gonna change the angle on this a little bit. There we go. So basically just do that over again, just going down this time. Try and stay at the angle that you started off at to make it go straight. So we go low, fix the angle back to 0, and then let's twist it around to 360. Move that angle over a little bit, and we're actually at 3 meters, and we want to go up 1 because we start at 5. And that looks okay. Like this is a little bit too far outside. So look at that. So that part actually kind of worked out in my favor. I clicked it and it made it look a little bit better. So yeah, again, that angle looks a little bit severe there. So extend it out a little bit and make it look a little bit better. Ooh, that does not look better. Bring it closer in. Fix this angle. Yeah, so when I go straight still, just move it out a bit. So yeah, look at that. Pretty good looking corkscrew, if I do say so myself. Pretty simple to make. You're not going to get around the 2 pieces trick, so you're going to have a little bit of a gradual change in the twist at the top. It's going to be straight. It's going to be perfectly upside down for a little bit longer than you'd like it to be. But there's no real way of getting around that, and I think for the corkscrew, it really doesn't make it look any worse. Doesn't make it look any less realistic. I think that looks pretty good. So that's one corkscrew, and we'll do one popular element that we see a lot of places. We'll bring it back around and do kind of the interlocking corkscrews. Make sure you line that up nice and good. So bring the track around, and you just want to basically copy what you just did before. Maybe move this track a little bit back so there's room between each corkscrew for them to work. So again, move it about 90 degrees. That looks about good. Bring it up to whatever the height is on this guy. So was that 15 meters? So bring it up to that. Bring it up to 15 meters. There we go. Let's get the angle back again, and then twist it back around to 180 degrees, which in this case would be 555 because this game's kind of stupid when it comes to degrees. So yeah, that looks pretty good. Actually, that needs to be altered just a little bit. See, you click it and it messes up my angle, and there we go. So we're perfectly straight up there. Maybe a little bit too far. Fix that angle one more time. It just likes to fuck with my angles whenever I re-click it. Alright, so we got the first piece. Looks pretty good. Then bring it down through the middle. Doing the same thing you were doing before. Bring it down to, what do we say, 5? I think 5 was the other one. fix that angle there, and then bring it down to level. Or I'm sorry, in inverted, back to right side up. See, it's a little bit close. That support is getting in the way, and that's kind of annoying. Fortunately, right now there's no real way to get around supports other than just building around them. So maybe we extend it out a little bit. That, first of all, that angle is not correct. Let's fix this like that. That's not flat. Like that. You know what? That looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, so they're not perfectly symmetrical. We can fix that pretty easily. They're not perfectly parallel with each other. So we just alter the angle here to match the angle of the first one. So we got that. That looks pretty good there. You just gotta pull this out a little bit more maybe. And yeah, I mean, that looks pretty darn good. Again, the top portion is going to be a little bit longer than the rest of the twist. Like, you're going to be upside down for a little bit longer. You're going to be perfectly upside down a little bit longer than you want to. But, you know, visually, the interlocking corkscrews look pretty good. Yeah, I'm super happy about that. That didn't take that long for me. It wasn't very stressful, like making other inversions, like the barrel roll. Just pretty. I mean, corkscrews are pretty simple to make, like I said before. Haven't had much trouble with them. And even the interlocking corkscrews, which is super popular, see that a lot of places. Pretty easy to make, and it looks pretty realistic to me. So let's test it out. All right, so here it comes through the corkscrews. First one goes over just fine. Goes through that support beam. Does not give a fuck about that beam. Comes back around for the second one. Again, looks good. Like I said, it pauses a little bit at the top. That's just because it has to be two pieces, but you know what? I think it looks good. So let's see what it looks like in the first-person view. Okay, so we're entering the first corkscrew. Looks pretty good. Again, you see where it switches over to that second track piece, so it's not perfect. Coming through the second one, that transition was a little bit better. I definitely made the second one a little bit smoother, but still, I'm still pretty satisfied with the way those look, with the way the coaster travels through them. You know, could be better. I mean, there's always room for improvement on that, but you know what? For the amount of time that I spent on it, I think it looks pretty good. So on to the next. If barrel rolls were my least favorite inversion to make in this game, then vertical loops are a pretty easy second in that category. I've tried so many times to make a good looking one, and they always end up looking just off. I mean, like I even showed in I believe I showed in my review video that they have this pre-built one, the loop icon. I mean, even just from the icon, it looks bad. You do it here and still looks bad, and then you place the track and it looks worse. So it just, I mean, everything about it just looks bad. The track isn't very close together. I mean, this angle is just so fucked. It just completely, it almost looks like a box. It just does not look good. So we're gonna try and make our own that's a little bit better than that. So in my attempts at making vertical loops, I've found that I think it's best to make it in 4 pieces. So we kind of want to start off like we did with the 0G roll. We're just gonna elevate the track a little bit, maybe to like 11, we'll do 11 meters, and then have the angle go up like we're about to start the vertical loop. Maybe do it a little bit more, want it a little bit more extreme than that. And then maybe raise it up one more. Yeah, so one nice long swoop to start this vertical loop. Make sure it's all, fuck, goddamn. I hate it when it does that. Yeah, so let's fix that again. Oh my god. So nice, one nice long swoop into the vertical loop. You want to kind of make sure that this is all straight. This track is straight going. Yeah, you want to make sure the track going into this first hill is as straight as possible. So we got the first part. Second part, we're actually going to go into the inversion. So we're going to go straight into perfectly upside down. And this is where you kind of have to get really creative with this coaster builder, because as you can see, I'm at the angle of 300 right now, and I can go back, but it'll stop me at 270 for some stupid reason. So it's only allowing me to go straight up from this point. So what we have to do is we have to use 2 and 3 to kind of manipulate the track, turn it around, and then manipulate the angle again. For some reason, then it lets you do that, so I can get to where I need to be at 0 degrees. But now it's all twisted, so then you use 3 and twist it around to the right orientation. And now it just looks bad. But I mean, that's just kind of what you have to do with this coaster builder, making the vertical loops. You got to make it look, this is like the only good way to make it look decent. Just got to kind of fight the builder on this one. So we're going to start off, we're going to do it a little bit less than 0 degrees. 345 is 1 down. You don't want it, I don't think you want it perfectly straight. You can just kind of see how extreme that curve is right there, and right here it's a little bit easier for the rider, I guess. Then you place it, and then it looks like a strand of DNA for some reason. So that's just a result of having to kind of hack it and make it work well enough. So just get that twist out of there by using the 2. So okay, so now we're looking good. The one thing about vertical loops is that, you know, half loops not so bad to make, because you can make them straight up over the track that started into it. But with vertical loops, you have to go to either side, and with this coaster builder, the angles you work with are not the angles you work with are not slight enough to work out correctly. So you can manipulate the track in 15-degree increments, but what the results is that it's too, that angle is too extreme to make a realistic vertical loop. At least in my opinion, it doesn't look terribly realistic with that 15-degree angle between. I was thinking maybe more of like a 5 or 10, but as you'll see, as I finish the loop, it's gonna look too spacious in between, or it's gonna the track is gonna like look straight, and then it's gonna curve off in a really extreme 15-degree angle, and then it's gonna go back to straight. So it's just gonna look weird. Just kind of what you have to deal with here. So we got that first half loop. Now we're gonna start the descent of the back side of the loop. Again, you're gonna have to just really play with these controls and make it work for you. I like to go decently low, probably just in line with that first one, with that first top of the hill. But then again, you're going to be limited by how far you can change this angle, so you have to twist it and turn it and make it work for you. So just twist it that way. Still can't do anything, right? So let's twist it back with 3, and then we can edit that. There we go. We can go a little bit further beyond that 90-degree angle that we were stuck at. So let's lower it a little bit to 11 meters, and it's all messed up. So let's, oh god. So now it's just bad. Let's try and fix this here. Twist it, get that twist out of there. Now we're looking okay. All right, so now you can see, kind of see what I'm talking about here. So it just, this is going to end up going straight, so we need this back to where it was, 0 degrees. And then you just have this straight track coming up, and then whoop, off 15 degrees, and then back to straight. It just looks weird. I don't really like it that way. But that's the best way I found that's the best way I've found to make it so far. So this angle obviously isn't right. We want to have that more akin to like what we had at the beginning. Maybe 45 degrees, that looks good. And then finish it off by just going back to ground level. 5 meters, fix that angle so it's flat, and it looks okay. It looks better than it did before with the pre-built one, but you know, it still doesn't look 100% right. You can just see just the way like the track like needlessly curves kind of out there, and then goes to that angle and then comes back to straight. It just doesn't look completely right. So what we can do is we can try and move this over a little bit, make it look a little bit better. I mean, it's never gonna, I've come to the point where I've accepted that vertical loops aren't gonna look 100% right, but you know, I think this This is one of the better loops I've made. I think it looks pretty good. Definitely much better than this bullshit right here. This just looks awful. I mean, look at that comparison. That looks like a realistic loop. This just looks like garbage. So let's get rid of that piece. Oh, what the hell? Okay, that's new. So let's get rid of that piece because that looks like crap. This looks like crap. So yeah, I mean, this looks... I'm okay with this. It could definitely be better. Again, it's not perfect, but you know what? Neither is this game, so that looks like a loop fit for this game. So let's test it out. Let's see what it looks like when it's testing. All right, so it goes up into the loop and back down. Pretty smooth. You can kind of see the transition from this track piece to this one. Just visually, it looked a little bit jarring to me. I'm not sure if there's... I'm not even sure if I want to try and fix it. I feel like I might just screw it up more. Maybe alter that angle a little bit. Maybe that makes it a little bit smoother. I don't know. You know, I think that looks maybe a little bit better. Yeah. Yeah, it definitely looks a little bit smoother. I think the angle I had before was just a little too extreme. So let's test it out again really quick. See if that looks better. Okay, test number 2. Here we go. Goes up. You can see that definitely does look a lot smoother there. Much better. Alright, so let's try the first person and see what that looks like. It's a first person loop. Go up, go straight through that support beam. And you know what? It looks pretty good. I mean, you can kind of see it's a little bit jank. It's some of the track pieces just kind of looks like it's not... It's a little bit crooked maybe. But you know what? Pretty satisfied with it. I'm happy. Are you happy? Because I'm happy. That's about as good of a vertical loop as I've made in this game. So that's one for the ages right there. All right, so the next inversion I'm going to do here is the always popular Cobra Roll, which basically it's basically a combination of just the corkscrew and the vertical loop. So you do one half loop, then one corkscrew coming out of it, and then another corkscrew going into a second half loop. It's pretty popular. You see it at a lot of roller coaster. You see it in a lot of roller coaster designs. See it in a lot of theme parks, and even in the most recent Twitch stream demo that the RollerCoaster Tycoon World devs did. I know they had a question. They had a question from somebody asking them to make a Cobra Roll, and honestly, I think the guy's Cobra Roll didn't look very good, but obviously he was pressed for time, so he couldn't use the time to make it right. So we're gonna try and make a really good-looking, realistic Cobra Roll here. So to save myself some time, I kept the first half of that loop that I made for the vertical loop. I altered the angle a little bit. Before, the angle was a little bit lower. I think it was like at 330 before we went to the second half of the loop. But for the Cobra Roll, and we're only doing a half loop, I'm just going to go straight to 0 and line it up like this. And then you don't have to worry about the track. The nice thing about the Cobra Roll is that it's only a half loop, so what the hell just happened? So anyways, the nice thing about the Cobra Roll is that you don't have to worry about the track coming back onto the track over here. So you can just go straight up and not worry about doing that little 15-degree angle that I have a problem with before. So again, we're just going to go like that, straight over the track, 0 degrees, cool, perfect half loop. And then coming out of there, we want to get our first corkscrew. So we want to lower it to an angle that we think would be good, probably around 17 maybe, and then twist it again 90 degrees from whichever angle we went into that first half loop. So we got 270 degrees there. That looks pretty good. And then we're going to, of course, twist it over into the actual roll of the Cobra Roll. So get it back to where you're facing right side up. So that looks pretty good. That angle seems a little off to me, so we're going to fix that, make it kind of perfectly 90 degrees there. Maybe move this a little bit back so it's not so compacted. There we go. That looks pretty... maybe we'll fix that. So maybe I said before we want that at 0 degrees. Maybe go back 1 to 345. And that looks a little bit better. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So we can move this out a little bit, extend that corkscrew just a tiny bit. And yeah, so you got your first half of it, and then basically you just want to almost carbon copy what you did for the first time, for the first half of it, and then finish out the second half. So we were at, what were we at before? We were at 25 meters. So let's go back up to 25 meters. Let's get that angle back to what we had before. It looked about 3-0. Were we at 0? I think before. That looks about right. We can kind of curve it in a little bit. I know some Cobra Rolls kind of curve in. This one's going to be a little more, I don't know, I guess parallel. So let's twist it over, back into the roll, so back to 180 degrees. Looks good. I mean, it looks pretty symmetrical right there. And from here, that looks pretty good as well. This angle, actually, now that I'm seeing it from over here, that looks a little bit off. So let's make that 345. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Like we did before, we don't want this to be exactly 0 like we have it. So let's go to 4 and try and just make that a little bit tilted down. So 15 degrees. Yeah, so that's looking good. And then just finish it out with the second half loop. So yeah, so we want to bring it back down to what do we have over here? I think that was 13. Let's bring it down to 13. Mess with that angle. Again, you have to kind of hack it, make it work for you. That's not right. So 180, fix that. So we're at 13. Shit, I just lost it. 13. Swing it around. Fix that angle here. Swing it around again because this game sucks. Sometimes. I actually like this game. It is kind of a pain. Make it 180. Then fix that angle a little bit. Make it like 60 degrees. Huh? Looks good. Make sure that is lined up straight. And then finish it out. You know, I think that looks okay, so we'll just finish it out here. Bring it back to level, 5 meters. Level that out. And for, you got the basic Cobra Roll. It looks pretty darn good. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much wrong with it. So this could be adjusted a little bit, make it straighter, and fix that appropriately. Yeah, you know, I think that looks pretty darn good. The corkscrews are pretty much symmetrical. The loops are pretty much symmetrical. And you know, even this is going to be even easier when they have the new feature of like doing blueprints and just saving one track piece and then bringing it and just putting the track piece where you want. I feel like it's going to make that a lot easier. So you only have to make one half, and then maybe you can just easily make the second half. But for right now, we have to make it. Kind of have to like just do an eye test and make sure it looks pretty good. And you know what? I'm pretty happy with that. So let's test it out and see how it goes. And so here we go. Testing the Cobra Roll. This goes up the half loop, comes down the corkscrew, enters another one, and then comes back down. It looks super smooth, like butter. I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see what it looks like in first person. Alright, again, going up the loop, into the corkscrew, into the next corkscrew, and then back down. Again, pretty smooth, about as smooth as you can make it in this game. Pretty happy about that. Yeah, man, I really like Cobra Rolls. They're not necessarily my favorite inversion, but man, do they look cool. So, there you go. Alright, and to finish out the inversions list that I have an Immelmann loop and a dive loop, which are pretty similar. Basically, it's just a half loop attached to kind of a downward or upward facing hill that does a half twist. Immelmann does the half loop first and then goes downhill, twisting back to level. And then the dive loop, you start going up the hill, twist to upside down, and then half loop down to the ground. So they're pretty similar. Since I still have this half loop built here, I'll just start off with the Immelmann. I'm pretty happy with the angle it's at. Again, we just want to go up to slightly less than directly parallel with the ground, upside down. And then from there, we just want to kind of add the next piece, which is a hill starting to go downwards. And we can change the angle a little bit so that the twist is all kind of on one slope. And then we'll twist it back to 0 degrees. And then that angle, of course, is kind of messed up, so we change that to be in line with the rest of the coaster. That's a little bit extreme for my taste. Usually I like to have it, like, again, on one slope, so let's make that one kind of curve there. So then you got that hill, and then you can bring it down to level 5 meters, even it out. And yeah, I mean, pretty dead simple once you get that half loop done. And there's ways you can make it a little bit better. Like you can see, it's kind of, this angle doesn't really match the rest of the angle, so maybe you can take this node here and alter it a little bit and maybe even it out so it's a little more loop-like. So like, yeah, so that definitely looks a lot better, a little more smooth. We kind of want to bring this out a little bit more like that. As you see, it's like almost a perfect circle. Like that looks pretty darn good right there. I'm pretty happy with that. Again, you don't have to really worry about the 15-degree angle thing because you're not landing on the track again. But it can look a little bit off when you have the track too far off the path. So we want to kind of line that up a little bit better, and that looks pretty good. So yeah, that is your Immelmann, and let's try it out. So we enter the half loop, and then at the top we start twisting down the hill. Looks great. Just smashed straight into that support beam. But yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. That looks realistic to me. So let's go into the dive loop. So again, the dive loop is kind of like the opposite of the Immelmann loop. So we start with the hill going upwards. So we were at, I think we were at 23 meters. And you know what? We're gonna start kind of with a like a pre-hill like we did before with like our loop. So we'll do it like 15 meters going up. Yeah, that looks good. And then as we're coming into the half loop, we will actually twist the track accordingly. So we'll twist it over to 180 degrees. Change that angle a little bit so it's starting to go down into the loop. 30 degrees, that looks pretty good. And then we'll finish out the half loop just like we have so many times before by hacking the shit out of the coaster builder. Alright, so we got the half loop, the basics of the half loop here. I was really struggling with this for a little while. So let's change this angle to make it better. That looks better already. And then I feel like we should edit this angle a little bit, maybe bring it a little bit closer. Maybe a little bit closer. And that looks pretty good. So yeah, I mean, just basically the polar opposite of the Immelmann. So we start up, go into a half twist, and then half loop out. Yeah, I'm not really seeing much wrong with this. This needs to be angled a little bit better coming out of it. It is awfully close to the ground, actually. That could be a problem. So we fix that by getting this angle changed, but unfortunately, yeah, we're kind of, this might be a little screwy here. So yeah, that's not, running into a little bit of an issue here. So let's drop this a little bit. Maybe we should just try, Oof. Yeah, I'm... All right, let me fiddle with this a little bit more, and we'll come back. All right, so we're back. It's looking a little bit better. Definitely not as close to the ground. It's just amazing that you think you have everything figured out on how to make inversions, and then this game just throws freaking curveballs at you when you least expect it. I mean, I've been working on these half loops and vertical loops for almost an hour now, and then I try and finish out this last inversion, and it's giving me trouble. So yeah, it's looking better. I feel like this angle can be improved a little bit, maybe making a little more. No, and that's about as good as it's gonna look. So yeah, fix this, straighten it up a little bit. You know what? I mean, I could cheat and go inconsistent and maybe bring it up one more. But you know, that still, it just kind of looks not as good. Actually, look at that. Clicked it once and it looks much better now. Looks a lot more smooth. Game did something right for once. You know, yeah, I'm happy with that. I'll take it. With as much time as I put into that, that's about as good as it's going to get for right now. So let's go ahead and test it out before we screw anything else up. Alright, so testing the dive loop. Goes up the hill, twist over to upside down, then comes down the half loop. Nice and smooth. So let's try that in first person and just see exactly how smooth that is. Alright, heading up the loop, twist over, and come on down. Looks pretty good. Super happy with the way that turned out, despite all the trouble I had with it. But yeah, so that's the dive loop, and that is the last inversion I had on my list. I think they all turned out pretty well, except for the barrel roll, of course. I was super psyched about that vertical loop. It's probably the best one I've made so far. But again, it's just, with the way this coaster builder is, it takes a lot of time to make inversions like this and have them look actually realistic. Whether it's worth it is up to you. Personally, I mean, I just really love the coaster builder, so I mean, you can make really cool looking coasters and then throw in some inversions that look realistic, and man, some of the coasters look really great when done right. Just a big time investment, and I'm hoping that, I know they've talked all about these pre-made pieces that they're putting in. What they showed off in the latest demo actually looked pretty good, especially with like the lift hills and like the straight track pieces. But again, I mean, I don't think they changed anything with this stupid loop that they have. So if they're cool with this being their pre-made loop, then that's pretty sad. And it's gonna leave a lot to the player to make inversions look good. So hopefully there's some improvements by launch. It's doable, but again, just, yeah, too much of a pain in the ass at this point. So hopefully this is helpful. If you have any inversions that you've made that you think look better than mine, or just if you have different ideas on how to make certain inversions, let me know in the comments. Send me a video, something. Just, I love seeing all the roller coasters that this community puts together. Yeah, I mean, if you just have any ideas, if you have any ideas for any other versions you want me to do that I maybe missed out on, leave a comment below again. I think I got most of them. There's a few that I didn't do, like, you know, like a bat wing. I mean, they're mostly just end up all being some combination of a half loop and a corkscrew of some kind. So, I mean, I left it to the ones that, you know, that I like the most, and I think got the point across on how to make these certain elements. So, but again, if you have any other ideas for me, for inversions or anything about RollerCoaster Tycoon, let me know, and I'll maybe make a video about it. So anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and see you next time.